this is just a terrible use of legislature, and it's going to create a lot of pain for a lot of people.
How Panera Bread ducked California's new $20 minimum wage law. What happened here, David?
Well, it looks like they baked up their own recipe here for a law, right?
Rim shot, please.
So conveniently, the owner of Panera Bread, he's a multi-billionaire, lobbied pretty heavily to Gavin Newsom's campaign and to legislators in the California legislature. So there's a new, if you didn't know, there's a new $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food restaurants in the state of California. Now, again, we can argue about fast food or minimum wages. All you're doing is driving the price up of the food you're going to get served. I mean, that's just the reality. So when I started, my first job off the farm was a minimum wage job at Chick-fil-A. I've talked about it. I made $3.35 an hour, I believe, right? And guess what it cost to buy a meal then? $2.99. That was your sandwich, fries, and a drink meal. Cost about $3. It cost about the hourly wage you have to pay the employee to provide said service. So guess what it's going to cost you in California here in the next 24 months? About $20 to buy a sandwich, fries, and drink. If you've been to a Five Guys lately, you know what I'm talking about already, even here in Omaha, right? But what's really interesting here is they carved out this special that Panera Bread is basically exempt, because if you bake fresh bread in your store, you don't have to abide by the minimum wage rule. Now, what kind of nonsense is that? Yeah. But this is where specialized and this is, look, I don't care if it was right wing, left wing. This is nonsense, right? And rules for thee, not for me, kind of nonsense once again. And unfortunately, it's going to disenfranchise those that work at Panera long term, because, hey, I'm going to walk across the street and get more money. So I think they're going to end up hurting themselves with this lobbying effort. We'll see.
Well, you ran pizza restaurants before you got into the financial industry. And whenever this issue comes up, I think of the late Herman Cain. And, of course, his involvement in Godfathers, and when he was running for president, he used to say, look, when you do this, you understand what you're going to do. The highly productive teenager who's just looking for some pocket money, well, that's probably the employee I'm going to keep. The lower skilled adult who really needs the job is going to be the first one let go, because I'm not running a charity, I'm running a business. And if you're going to increase my labor costs, I'm going to have to be more circumspect in who I'm hiring and who I'm keeping.
Well, it's
the people you want to help are going to be hurt.
Absolutely. And it's proven over time. The more we raise minimum wage, the further the bottom 20% of income earners get left behind in society. You can just make it $100 an hour. Okay, because that won't solve anything. Everything will cost more than that, right? You're just driving costs up on goods and services. Not only you drive it up on the restaurant serving you the food, if minimum wage goes up, Chip, now the driver that delivered the raw products to the store has to get paid more. Therefore, they have to charge more for the flour, for the salt, for the water.
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah, and so this absolutely increases costs, and those that can't afford it are those in the bottom end of the food chain, unfortunately. And so, minimum wage increases, and again, it's popular, so I don't care what minimum wage is, because it's just going to make the products cost more, and everything is relative. But you bring a great point. Minimum wage was meant to just have a base standard of so we couldn't have conditions like the old coal mines, et cetera, right? Minimum wage was just meant to be, there's a threshold. It's not meant to be a living wage. It's not meant to be a career wage. It's meant as you enter the workforce and you provide value. Like when I started, I got promoted very quickly. And back then, 50 cents an hour was a big raise. But I out-hustled, as you pointed out, when I worked at the Chick-fil-A and became a shift leader, whatever the title was then, and out-hustled my other workers and got a promotion because it mattered to me. That's the way I've operated. And so, like servers, I always love people that have served early in their career, because later in life they have really good skill sets, Chip, because they have to deal with happy people, sad people, mad people, and their income is a direct byproduct of the service they provide, i.e. a tip by good service or bad service. And let's face it, service is not, it's a bit of a lost art. So when I get really good service, and I consider myself a pretty decent tipper, I go over and above sometimes, and it's nice to bless people. But anyway, again, this is just a terrible use of legislature, and it's going to create a lot of pain for a lot of people.